The truth won't always comfort you, but it will always free you. I know how it feels to stand at the edge of a new year with hope in one hand and fear in the other, to want more, but wonder if you're allowed to ask for it, to be strong on the outside and quietly exhausted on the inside. So before 2026 asks anything of you, there are a few truths you must accept, not to harden your heart, but to steady your spine. Growth has a quiet way of changing the temperature in a room. One day, you walk in and everything feels familiar. The next, you realize something has shifted. Not because you announced it, not because you demanded attention, but because you chose to grow. You chose to heal. You chose to become more disciplined with your time, your energy, your faith. And suddenly, the same people who once felt close now feel distant. Their smiles don't linger as long. Their encouragement sounds thinner. Their silence grows louder. This is where many women begin to doubt themselves. They ask, am I changing too much? Am I becoming difficult? Should I slow down so I don't lose people? And this is where the truth matters most. Not everyone will celebrate your growth, and that does not mean you are doing something wrong. When you rise, you hold up a mirror to the lives around you. Your progress reflects postponed dreams. Your discipline exposes comfortable habits. Your courage quietly asks questions others aren't ready to answer. Some people will cheer because your growth inspires them. Others will feel threatened, not by you, but by what your transformation awakens inside them. And instead of doing the work, they choose distance. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. Life has a way of rearranging relationships when your soul evolves. Some connections were built for survival seasons, not expansion seasons. Some people loved the version of you that needed them, but struggled to accept the version of you that stands on her own. There is a particular ache that comes with outgrowing people you once prayed with, laughed with, leaned on. It feels ungrateful to move forward when they stay behind. But growth is not abandonment. Growth is obedience to your calling, to your purpose, to the quiet voice inside you that says there is more. Shrinking yourself to maintain familiarity will cost you far more than loneliness ever will. Because the price of staying small is resentment toward yourself. And that resentment hardens the heart in ways distance never could. You must understand this deeply. The right people do not ask you to bleed so they can feel comfortable. The right people do not feel offended by your discipline, your standards, your boundaries. The right people may not always understand your journey, but they will respect it. They will adjust, or they will release you with grace. And if they don't, you must learn to do that, releasing yourself. With love, without bitterness, without needing to be understood. There will be moments when you are tempted to explain yourself, to justify your choices, to soften your ambition so it feels less intimidating. Resist that urge. You do not owe everyone access to your becoming. Growth is sacred, it is quiet work. It happens in early mornings, in prayers whispered through tears, in nights where discipline replaces comfort. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to that process. Some people only knew the old version of you because that was all they were meant to know. Letting go does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is simply choosing not to chase, not to convince, not to overextend. It is choosing peace over performance. Trust that when a door closes without explanation, it is often protection disguised as loss. Trust that space can be a gift. Trust that what falls away makes room for what aligns. As you move forward, remind yourself gently, you are not responsible for managing other people's comfort with your growth. Your responsibility is to remain honest with yourself, faithful to your values, and brave enough to keep walking, even when the applause fades. Some seasons are quiet because they are planting seasons. Roots grow in silence. strength forms underground. And when it is time to rise fully, the people meant to stand beside you will recognize you, not by who you used to be, but by who you had the courage to become. Stay soft, stay grounded, stay moving. Growth will always cost you something. Let it never cost you yourself. Love is one of the most beautiful forces we experience as women. We are raised to nurture it, protect it, pour into it endlessly. We are praised for our patience, our empathy, our ability to hold space for everyone else's emotions, while quietly setting our own aside. Somewhere along the way, many women learn to measure their worth by how much they can tolerate, how much they can forgive, how much they can give without asking for anything in return. And for a long time, that kind of love feels noble. It feels right. Until one day it feels heavy. Until one day you realize you are tired in a way sleep cannot fix. This is where the hard truth arrives. Love alone is not enough. Not in friendships, not in family, not in relationships. Without boundaries, love slowly turns into self-erasure. You begin to disappear in small ways. You stop saying what you need because it feels inconvenient. You start accepting behavior that hurts you because you don't want to be difficult. You convince yourself that endurance is strength. But endurance without respect is not strength. It is survival. And survival is not what you were created for. Boundaries are often misunderstood. They are seen as cold, harsh, selfish, especially when they come from women. When a woman sets boundaries, she is labeled guarded, emotional, unkind. But boundaries are not walls built to keep people out. They are guidelines that teach people how to love you well. They are acts of honesty. They say, this is where I end. This is where I begin. This is what I can give, and this is what I cannot carry. Without them, love becomes confused. It becomes draining. It becomes unsafe for your spirit. There will be moments when setting a boundary feels uncomfortable. Your voice might shake. Your heart might race. You might replay the conversation in your mind 100 times afterward, wondering if you were too firm, too clear, too much. That discomfort does not mean you were wrong. It means you are breaking a pattern that once kept you accepted but exhausted. Growth often feels like guilt at first, especially for women who were conditioned to prioritize harmony over honesty. You must learn to trust that protecting your energy is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of stewardship. Your time, your peace, your emotional capacity, they are sacred resources. When you give them away carelessly, you have nothing left for the things that truly matter. Boundaries allow you to show up with sincerity instead of resentment. They allow you to give from overflow, not obligation. They allow love to stay clean, not contaminated with unspoken anger. Some people will resist your boundaries. They will test them. They will question them. They may even accuse you of changing. In truth, you are changing. You are choosing clarity over chaos. You are choosing self-respect over approval. And the people who benefited from your lack of boundaries may not applaud that choice. Let them be uncomfortable. Their discomfort is not your emergency. Pay attention to how people respond when you honor yourself. The ones meant to stay will adjust. They may ask questions, they may need time, but they will try. The ones who leave were often attached to what they could take from you, not who you truly are. This is painful, but it is also revealing. Boundaries don't push the right people away. They reveal who never planned to stay in a healthy way. You are allowed to say no without explaining your entire history. You are allowed to rest without are in it. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to protect your peace even when it disappoints others. Love does not require you to abandon yourself. Real love meets you with respect, patience, and accountability. As you move forward, Remember this, boundaries are how you teach the world that your presence is valuable. They are not about controlling others, they are about being honest with yourself. When you honor your limits, you invite relationships that are rooted in mutual care, not silent sacrifice. And that kind of love, the kind that honors both giving and receiving, is the only kind that sustains you. You were never meant to pour until you are empty. You were meant to love wisely, with courage, with clarity, and with enough respect for yourself to know that your heart deserves protection too. There are wounds you never asked for, moments that changed you without your consent, words spoken that stayed long after the sound faded, choices made by others that alter the direction of your life. And if we are honest, one of the most painful realizations a woman comes to is this: you can do everything right and still be hurt, still be betrayed. I'm still disappointed. That truth alone can make your heart heavy, but there is another truth that follows it, one that is even harder to accept and even more necessary if you want to walk into the future free. You are responsible for your healing, even when you were not responsible for the hurt. This does not mean what happened to you was acceptable. It does not minimize the pain. It does not excuse the people who failed you. It simply acknowledges something powerful. If you do not take responsibility for your healing, the pain will continue to make decisions on your behalf. Unhealed wounds speak. They choose who you trust. They shape how you love. They determine what you tolerate, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin living life in reaction rather than intention. Many women wait for closure that never comes, an apology that is never spoken, accountability that is never taken. And in that waiting, years pass. Joy is delayed, growth is postponed. Healing cannot depend on someone else's awareness. It has to begin the moment you decide your life is too precious to remain defined by what broke you. Healing is not about forgetting. It is about remembering without bleeding. Taking responsibility for your healing is an act of courage. It means choosing to sit with uncomfortable emotions instead of numbing them. It means asking yourself hard questions. Why does this still hurt? Why do I react this way? What am I protecting? It means allowing yourself to grieve, not just people, but versions of yourself that didn't exist because you were busy surviving. There is no weakness in that grief. There is wisdom in it. Healing also requires patience. You do not get over pain on a schedule. Some days you feel strong, grounded, at peace. Other days, something small cracks you open again. That does not mean you are failing. It means healing is not linear. It moves like the ocean, forward, back, forward again, each wave teaching you how to stand more firmly. Be gentle with yourself in that process. Harshness delays healing. Compassion accelerates it. There will be moments when anger surfaces. Let it speak without letting it lead. Anger is often grief that finally found its voice. Listen to it, learn from it, then release it before it turns into bitterness. Bitterness hardens the heart and clouds discernment. Healing asks you to choose peace even when you could justify staying angry. Not because the other person deserves peace, but because you do. Faith plays a quiet but powerful role in healing. Faith is not pretending everything is okay. Faith is trusting that even what wounded you can be transformed into wisdom, that nothing is wasted, that there is meaning beyond the moment. Sometimes healing looks like prayer, sometimes it looks like therapy, sometimes it looks like distance, sometimes it looks like forgiveness that happens slowly, privately, and repeatedly. All of it counts. All of it matters. As you heal, you will notice changes. Your standards rise. Your tolerance for chaos drops. Your intuition sharpens. You no longer chase what once triggered you. You choose calm over chemistry. You choose consistency over intensity. These changes may feel unfamiliar at first, but they are signs of alignment. You are no longer driven by fear of loss, but by respect for yourself. Do not rush this transformation. Do not compare your healing to someone else's timeline. Your journey is sacred because it is yours. And one day you will look back and realize the pain that once threatened to break you became the foundation of your strength. Not because it happened, but because you chose to heal. You may not have caused the wound, but you get to decide whether it remains open. And choosing healing is choosing life, choosing peace, choosing a future where your past is a chapter, not the whole story. Before you step into 2026, pause for a moment and place your hand over your heart. Feel its strength. Feel how much it has carried you through disappointment, through silence, through prayers whispered when no one was watching. You are still here, not because life was easy, but because grace kept meeting you where you were. Here is the truth that ties everything together. Your life will change the moment you decide to live it consciously. When you stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself. When you stop shrinking for comfort and start standing in truth. When you stop letting pain narrate your future and let faith take the lead. You are not late. You are broken. And you are not invisible. Every season you survived sharpened your wisdom. Every loss refined your discernment. Every tear watered the ground where your strength now grows. Nothing was wasted. Not the waiting, not the heartbreak, not the quiet battles you never spoke about. Walk into the future with humility, but never with doubt. Serve with love, but never at the cost of your soul. Dream boldly, but stay rooted in gratitude. And when fear tries to return, remind yourself of this. You didn't come this far by accident. You didn't survive this much to live small. There is a calling on your life that requires courage. There is a peace waiting for you that requires obedience. And there is a version of you ahead that only emerges when you trust, deeply, faithfully, that you are guided, protected, and prepared. So don't just hope for a better year. Become the woman who creates one. Stand tall, walk gently, and step forward knowing this. What is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. As you rise from this moment, carry this truth with you like a quiet prayer in your chest. You were never called to live in fear. You were called to live in faith. Faith that when doors close, they are not rejecting you, they are redirecting you. Faith that when the path feels lonely, it is because you are being prepared for higher ground. Faith that even when you cannot see the next step, the ground will rise to meet you when you move. Do the work when no one is watching. Choose integrity when shortcuts tempt you. Serve with humility and trust that grace keeps the score. And remember this, your life is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for your obedience. Walk forward boldly, trust deeply, and let your faith be louder than your fear.